Good afternoon, everyone. We are Goodbye. Today we are going to present the engineering projects of Kaited Cruise Terminals. Firstly, we will go through the 7 dimensions starting from the backgrounds to the environmental dimensions. I'm Lam Wing Chun and now I'm going to present the backgrounds. Firstly, Kaited Cruise Terminal is the project type of cruise ship terminal and berthing facility, which is owned by the Hong Kong government and operated by the Worldwide Cruise Terminals. For the key informations, Kaited Cruise Terminals contain 2 cruise berths and 1 terminal building, and its cost 8.2 billion. After reviewing the background information, the scope of the project will be introduced, starting from site formations, construction of the terminal building and cruise berths, and auxiliary facility. For the site formation, the project nature can be classified into 3 parts, such as construction works, environmental mitigation measures, environmental monitoring, and audit programs. As the foundations of the latest construction works, the construction works are conducted in the area of seawall, open area, the associated pilot transition structures, as well as adjoining seabed. Apart from the construction works, there are environmental mitigation measures and environmental monitoring and audit program as well. After design formations, the terminal building and cruise berth cover the sea area for berthing of cruise ships, open area, cruise terminal building, and terminal park. Inside the cruise terminal building, there are various building work such as baggage handling area, custom operation area, and concourse. The ancillary facility mainly are referred to as the green area and recreational facility, which includes the arrival plaza, arrival alley, and northwest terrace, and etc. And after introducing the scope of the projects, the timeline overview of the Kaita Cruise Terminal started from site formations in November 2009, constructions of the terminal building and ancillary facility in May 2010, the completions of berth 1 and terminal building in June 2013, and the completions of berth 2 in September 2014. For the site formations, the project is initiated by the Tourism Commission as a client and is assigned to Civil Engineering and Development Department as the project managers and the POC Company Limited as contractor. The representatives of the engineer is assigned to URS and Scott Wilson Limited, while the environmental works are assigned to Lam Environmental Services Limited as a team leader and Erfurt HK Limited as an independent checker. For the terminal building and ancillary facilities, the Tourism Commission assigned the Architectural Services Department as the project managers this time, and the Jaguars Hong Kong Limited as the contractor. For the divisions of works, Foster and Partners played the role of the lead architect, which Wong Tong and Partners will be responsible for the architectural designers, and ACOM will be responsible for the structural designers, landscape designers, as well as building services designer. For the project objective, the short-term goals include the provision of cruise vacation services to attract mainland visitors, the alleviation of the containers terminal pressures in ocean terminal, and the creation of new employment opportunities. And the long-term goals include the improvement of Hong Kong ranking in terms of the cruise terminals, the growth of tourism and commercial activities. In addition, another long-term goal is the promotion of sustainable developments and green designs in Hong Kong. And now I will pass to my next groupmate to present the professional dimensions.
Hello, I'm Yong Chaklang and I'm responsible for the professional dimension part. In the project, the demonstration of project teams and the professional engineers and ethics and code of conduct will demonstrate the professionalism. So these are the four main professionalisms, conduct and ethics, and I'm focusing on the exercise leadership and promoting sustainability park. Kaita Cruise Terminal connects with the community to formulate a sustainable urban development agenda. It completed the green certification review process and achieved the highest level in three aspects, such as energy saving, emission reductions, impacts on the adjacent environment, and the indoor environmental quality. It is also assessed for the sustainable development performance of the project in all stages. This series of evaluation indicators prove that the project covered various socio-economic and environmental elements, also the realization of sustainable urban development. For example, the sustainable design in the project combines a number of energy-saving measures, as well as generating powers from renewable energy sources and making use of recycled rainwater for cooling. The environmental friendly buildings introduce natural light and design transparency. Also consider the security risk. For example, the passengers should not have any contact with the outside world after custom clearance. It is designed not only to serve inbound and outbound passengers, but also allow the citizens to enjoy the building's facilities. So the design is very highly flexible, incorporating spaces that are suitable for any functions and allow the building to be used all year around. During the off-season of the tourism, the waiting lobby can be flexibly changed into different events and turned into a venue for large-scale conference, exhibitions, or parties and banquets. It shows that it supports and encourages diversity and promotes sustainability. Hence, there are some problems in the project. First of all, before the outbreak of the epidemic, the operation, performance, and management of the Kaita Cruise Terminal has been not very satisfactory. The terminal was like a dead city on weekdays, and with sparse crowds, restaurants, merchants operating with difficulties. Since its closure in 2016, the shops have been left empty until now. Many restaurants and shops inside the terminal have been closed for a long time, and there was even an accident of unpaid wages and food delays earlier, and there are many lift failures reported in 2015 and 16. So it shows that it can't oppose the reputation and trustworthiness of the practice of engineering, since it shouldn't let too many accidents to be occurred. Problem 2 is the inadequate transportation facilities. On public holidays and when the cruise ships are berthed, the number of taxis cannot absorb the large number of passengers who have just landed, and there are long queues at the taxi stand. So the transportation facilities pose difficulties to the operation, and it might not be possible in the off-season. In the past, some shop owners contact the transport departments to discuss improving the transportation, but they didn't follow up in the end. So the poor transportation facilities are the main reason for the low utilization rates of the pier. So it shows that in the project, the team has failed to respond to the community. Problem 3. The shore power facilities of the cruise terminal has been resolved for future installation before the terminal was designed, and will be implemented as promised in the process just in 2013. This will help reduce health risk to nearby residents when the cruise ship is berthed. However, after spending millions of public funds to complete the consultation reports, the government pointed out that the plan was not feasible in terms of the environmental protection and cost effectiveness, and suggested to suspend it. So this shows that the government lacked planning in the earlier stage and result in a waste of years of research, millions of monies, and failed public expectations. These are some suggestions to give to the project. The government has long been aware of the problems at the Kai Tak cruise terminal, but did not do any things really work to it. So I suggested to speak up for the construction of transportation facilities in the cruise terminal, to improve catering and retail facilities, and hold events, and to provide sufficient incentives to attract better quality cruise ships. The authorities should also set specific performance indicators, such as the number of cruise berthings and the duration of tourist stay, and the expected level of spending. And the last suggestion is the regional cooperation issues. The Greater Bay Area is independent and failed to increase the source of tourists. In terms of the regional cooperation, Hong Kong is currently unable to cooperate with other Asian cities to attract more tourists. So I think the Kai Tak cruise terminal can work with the cities nearby to attract more tourists. This is the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Yao Tek. I'm going to analyze this project in social and cultural dimensions. Let's start with the vision of the project. The size of luxury cruise ships is growing due to the technological advancements, and their displacement tonnage has already surpassed 100,000. Except for the Kai Tak container terminal, there's no cruise terminal to cope with this issue. Therefore, the impressions of travelers and cruise passengers were tainted. As a result, there is a vision that the government aims to shape Hong Kong to be a regional transport center for cruise ships, and utilize this chance to expand tourism sector through the development of KTCT. According to engineering social responsibility, engineers are accountable for raising public knowledge of developments based on their work. Meanwhile, when carrying out their duties, they should think about the effects on the public and society. So does this project have a significant social impact? There are two distinct viewpoints. To begin with, KTCT appears to be conducive to the society. So several points are summarized as follows. The first is the encouragement of sustainable culture. The majority's wish is to save Victoria Harbour from being reclaimed. The water depth at Kai Tak is sufficient for those giant cruise ships to pass. As a result, land reclamation is unnecessary. Meanwhile, the terminal's design incorporates many green elements, such as energy conservation and the use of renewable energy. For example, solar panels and photovoltaic panels are renewable energy sources, and landscape roof decks reduce the heat island effect. As a result, we can see that this project is cherished by the public's wishes, and the sustainability is promoted. The public's favorable impression of engineer is maintained. Second, the large space for establishing corridor equipment. According to the plan, this terminal can satisfy the needs of a new generation of giant cruise ships, with a staggering capacity of 8,400 passengers and 1,200 staff members. Basically, because of its service capabilities and the reputation of Kai Tak Airport, the potential to be a regional transit hub for cruise ships has been shown, which benefits society by changing the perception of Hong Kong's marine service. Third, there is an extensive range of facilities. The terminals will be used for marine services and other facilities such as restaurants, shops, and a rooftop park. It is in the public's best interest to develop additional work possibilities and improve their living quality. As we all know, Hong Kong is a small territory with a high population. The rooftop park provides an additional relaxing area for guests to enjoy activities such as picnics, and this is one of the public's well-being issues to consider. Besides, another point of view is that the project is being criticized by a part of the community. In terms of the current situation, there are two scenarios to be concerned. The first one is the lack of access to infrastructure, such as transportation. The terminal has been turned on for several years, but little progress has been made. For example, the average waiting time for a bus line is 20 to 30 minutes, and the waiting time for a ferry is an hour. As a result, most people choose to travel there by private car, resulting in an issue with illegal parking. There are just 126 parking spaces available. They are far insufficient for the intended use. The second issue is a lack of human flow. Based on the first phenomenon, the public's willingness to visit there has been impaired. Most people don't want to waste time for waiting a car or competing for a parking spot. As a result, only a few people travel there, resulting in a low volume of business. For example, restaurants rely only on those site workers on weekdays, and there is no shopping. If these issues are not addressed, a lack of people flow will prevent brands from joining, harming job opportunities and living standards. To conclude, we can observe two perspectives on the KTCT project. In my opinion, regardless of the location or available resources, this project has numerous advantages and can assess both the public and society. Except for pandemic's impact, the government should deal with the problem from the root, such as improve the transportation. As a result, the problem can be alleviated, and the community will realize its potential once again. So this is the end of my part, and can we further discuss in the economic dimension. Thank you.
Thank you, Keelan. For the economic dimension, I will talk about the objective of the Kai Tak Cruise Terminal project. There are two objectives were suggested before the construction of KTCT. They are developing the cruise tourism of Hong Kong and bring economic benefit to other industries. In order to develop the cruise tourism, the government hopes that the KTCT can increase the number of ships calls and cruise passengers by 2023 within the range 180 to 250 and 560k to 1 million respectively. After the KTCT was built in 2013, we can see that there are some achievements of it. First, the KTCT success to enrich the Hong Kong tourism portfolios. As we can see from the table, the total number of ships calls and cruise passengers was 89 and 119k respectively before KTCT was built. However, after the KTCT was built, both of the number are rapid increase in 2018 and already exceeded the aim of the government, which preset at 2023. By researching, the cruise passenger spending per capita in Hong Kong is shown as the table. For the transit passenger, the spending of them are around 14,000 Hong Kong dollars and 4,000 Hong Kong dollars for the passengers who are embarking or disembarking in Hong Kong. When there are more visitors, it also brings an economic growth to the others industry, such as retail and dining, travel trade, hotel and others industries. From the record, we can find that KTCT brought around 1.7 billion contribution to the others industry by bringing more customers from the worldwide to Hong Kong. The construction cost of KTCT is around 8.2 billion from the record, and the value-add contribution of KTCT in 2018 is 1.7 billion, which is already 20% of the construction cost. Therefore, the government believes that the construction cost of the KTCT can be justified easily in around 5 or 6 years. However, there is some defect of the KTCT, which is the operation and the performance of KTCT may affected by the different worldwide problem, such as the spreading of the COVID-19 in nowadays. The number of ships calls was reduced and become zero completely as the travel ban is applied in different regions, and the KTCT is out of the service and not available to bring any income for Hong Kong. Also, the public transportation plying the Kai Tak Cruise Terminal is inconvenient. Although the construction cost is paid by the Hong Kong government, The local citizens do not have the incentives to visit the KTCT as there are limited transportation which can reach the terminal. Therefore, the KTCT cannot bring benefit to the local people, and there are only very small ratio of local people can be beneficial from the KTCT project. I will pass to the next student to talk about the legal dimension.
I am Sito Manner. The legal dimension will be discussed in the following. The Judges Hong Kong Limited has been awarded the design and build. In the following presentation, some articles will be gathered from the Hong Kong Legislative Council agreement about the Hong Kong Kai Tak Queen's Terminal to see if there are any law argument. For example, like this, the Tourist Commission and the Trading Fund have entered into a 10-year service level agreement. From the 1st of June, according to this agreement, the Trading Fund is required to submit a semi-annual performance report and compare the actual performance of each engineering system with specific indicators. However, this commission was only proposed 5 reports, and there is a breach, there's violation of the right and a duty of law, because they agreed to submit 7 reports, but they don't only have 5 reports. In the following agreement, the EAI had examined the construction noise impact of the project during the normal daytime working hours. Taking into account like this, the noise levels would be range from 45 to 92 dB at representative noise sensitive receivers. That is the law in protecting the environment, and being engineers should obey this law. From the previous slide, we have found out that the noise level was being acceptable under the law, but there is some morality actions to help the surrounding buildings, like the primary school, secondary school, or the hostel. From their views, they have kept the window closed during the construction activities. Noise impact at the indoor environment of this school can be avoided. However, in this agreement, it is still recommended the particular noise construction activities should be scheduled to avoid the examining period of these essay hours. That is not mentioned by the law, but the engineers will do in morality. After talking about the legal dimension, the health and safety dimension will be discussed in the forum. Firstly, I would like to appreciate the Judges Hong Kong company that have won the 4th place of the Good Housekeeping competition in 2011 by the Kai Tak Terminal Building Development. Here is some supplementary work for the wordings in the law that the inhalation of dust. When any construction work involves the greasing, cleaning, spraying, mixing, or working of any materials, we cause dust or fumes to be given of a character and extent likely to be injurious to the health or workmen employed in the work. The contractor responsible for the work and any contractor who has direct control over the work shall take all reasonable steps as are necessary to prevent the inhalation of dust or fumes by the workmen, either by providing adequate ventilation or by the provision and use of suitable respirators or other effective means. Here is some guideline suggested by the OSH Council to guide the workplace. Firstly, the Construction Site Safety Regulation Part 7 has stated the judging working as the following wordings. The contractor responsible for any construction site where there is carried on any process which result in particles or materials or dust being produced in such a manner as to be likely to enter or damage the eye for any workman engaged in the process, and any contractor who has direct control on the process shall ensure that suitable goggles or effective screens are provided for protection for the workman, and the workman use the goggles or screen as the case may be. We can see that the OSH ordinance has staged some easy meaning words like judging workings into such specific terms that will make we need to obey the law and make sure that the workers are safe in judging environment.
Thank you, Sitomanner presented the legal, healthy, and safety dimension. I am Hong and I am responsible for the environmental dimension. I would like to talk about the impacts of construction. First, it causes the air pollution. When there are construction activities, there will be a need to excavate and transport the soil, and also the transport vehicles need to deliver the construction material, and the vehicle will emit a lot of exhaust gas. Therefore, it causes the air pollution. They have some measure to reduce the problem. First, there will be watering. This means it will sprinkle the water on the soil. It can reduce the dust that occur. Besides that, there will be using the impermeable sheeting to cover the slab, and this can reduce the dust going into the air, and also there will be setting the air quality detector to monitor the air quality and make sure that the air quality is meeting the safety standard. Then it also causes noise pollution. When there are construction, this is inevitable to produce a lot of noise. It affects the near residents and school. Therefore, there will be setting temporary construction noise barrier to reduce the noise. Also, there are sound detectors to monitor the sound. If they are over the limitation of the dB, it will try to reduce the construction noise. Also, it will make the water pollution, since the original water depth is not suitable for the cruise ship modeling, so they need to be chartering to remove the sediments to slab to increase the water depth. And also, there is a need to build up a barriers for the pickup and drop of the passengers. Those construction will cause the water pollution and damage the marine environment. Therefore, before this construction, there are simulations for the charging work and simulate the effects and the outcomes. Also, there will be set up a slab curtain and adopt the grab charger to avoid the slab extend to the outside of the harbor. Then I would like to talk about the impacts of daily operation. First, the air pollution is aggravated. Since the cruise ship use the sulfur oil and emits a lot of exhaust gas, and it makes the PM2.5 increase significantly. And the highest measure of the PM2.5 is 38 micrograms per cubic meters, and the average of the PM2.5 is 26 micrograms per cubic meters. This is higher than the WHO recommended safety standard of 25 micrograms per cubic meters, and it shows that it is harmful and smelly, and therefore the government have established legislation for the limiting the cruise ship cannot use exceed 0.5% sulfur oil when motoring. After this legislation, the PM2.5 reduced around 20% to 30%. Also, there are another possible measure which is install the shower power at the Kaita cruise terminal for the cruise ship, and this can reduce the cruise ship burning the sulfur oil to generate the electricity for the passengers' use, and it can reduce the air pollution. Then it will also have the noise pollution. It is mainly caused by the cruise ship. It will affect the residents and the school. Also, the quality of water in Victoria Harbour is affected by the cruise ship. It damages the harbour environment and makes some of the fish die. After that, I would like to talk about the sustainable design in the Kaita Cruise Terminal. First, it has the district cooling system. The advantage of it can reduce around 20 to 30% electrical power, and it is convenient for remodeling. There is no need to change too much for the district cooling system. Also, it absorbs the solar panel and the photovoltaic panels for the renewable energy. Moreover, it absorbs the drawing neutral lights to the building design. It can reduce the use of the power. This kind of the design can reduce the energy consumption. Also, there are a rainwater and air conditioner condensate water recycling system, and it can reduce the usage of the water to water the plants. Currently, this is the first building getting the highest certification level for the new buildings V1.1 Final Pavilion, and it indicates that the Kaida customer has done a good job in designing the green building. This is the end of our presentation. Thank you.